this episode of In Your Neighborhood. We're spending the day at Camp Woodward. Nestled at the eastern edge of Penns Valley is Camp Woodward. If you're like me, you've driven by its entrance off Route 45 many times and wondered just exactly what happens in all those buildings. Well, today, we're going to find out. As it turns out, Woodward has a long, rich history dating back to 1970.
It was a dream of Ed Isabel, gymnastic coach at Penn State, meeting a couple businessmen that purchased this dairy farm. And they happened to be at a party after a gymnastic meet and asked the question, what do you think about a gymnastic camp about 25 miles east of State College? And he thought for about 5 seconds and said, why not? Obviously then the next day they ended up back here and looked at this barn, and just so happens the barn burnt down in 27, rebuilt in 34 with this truss system, which means wide open spaces, enough to put a 40 by 40 FreeX mat. And when you're starting something new, capital is like king, and when you don't have to invest capital in changing something to fit something, that's maybe why it happened. And so the first 8-10 years was the passion of gymnastics. Penn State University, high-level gymnastics, and this was sort of their home, tucked away from the rest of the world as far as the camp.
In addition to Penn State gymnasts, Woodward opened its doors each summer to gymnasts from across the country who wanted to train with the best. The focus on gymnastics carried Woodward through the 70s. Then, in 1980, a political decision caused the owners to re-examine the camp's focus.
In 1980, the U.S. boycotted those Olympic Games in Moscow, and we knew at that point that's a high level of gymnastics, the Olympic Games. And when you go 8 years without Olympic Games, we know that's going to hurt the sport. And at that moment, we started looking for alternative sport, meaning something the traditional scene wasn't doing, something colleges weren't doing, something new and unique, and also looking something that was more male dominated, because gymnastics is female dominated. So stumbled upon BMX racing, the ABA. We signed an official camp of the American Bicycle Association. So that was our new sport added to camp.
Ream admits that incorporating BMX racers into the atmosphere previously dominated by gymnasts was a struggle at first. Steve Haas, who is affectionately known around camp as Maverick, gave us an idea just how disparate these two programs are.
Gymnastics is a very disciplined sport, and there are a lot of rules, and it's a very thick rule book, and the kids there are very used to being coached in minute detail. Action sports is more trial and error, and you have a lot more room in terms of creativity and style to come up with a way to conclude a certain trick or skill. And the great part about being here is you're interacting with all the other people who do the same thing and are extremely passionate about it, just like you are.
However, Woodward was committed to providing the same high-level experience for BMX as it did for gymnastics, and that commitment paid off.
And one of the best BMX tracks in the country was located in Pittsburgh. We went over there, did a little homework, built a BMX track here, and added it as a program in 1983. And that program grew and exploded rather quickly. And out of that racing program grew freestyle, which was the trick riding. Because during their free time, they wanted to ride and do tricks off the berms. They persuaded us to build ramps, and in 1987, we added BMX freestyle. Then, with the ramps being here in place and constantly evolving, skateboarders said, oh, we can ride ramps like the BMX guys can you let us play? So in 1989, we added them as a program. And then the inline skaters saw what was happening with the BMXers and the skateboarders, and they in turn said, can we come and join the party? And they did in 1993, and lo and behold, the X Games, and back then the Extreme Games, came into existence in 1995. So it pretty much legitimized what we had already started doing. It wasn't the other way around. So instead of coming extreme, it became mainstream.
Through all the growth, Woodward maintained its gymnastic roots, often serving as a training ground for Olympians in all types of gymnastics, including tumbling and trampoline. They've also added a cheer program that mixes the skills of gymnastics with dance and cheerleading. Today, the town of Woodward's population swells from 132 to more than 1,000 as 850 campers and 300 staffers descend for 12 weeks each summer. That's right, 850 kids each week for 12 weeks. And there are numerous programs running concurrently.
It breaks down into skateboarders, BMX freestylers, BMX racers, inline skaters, snowboard, then gymnastics, cheerleading, power tumbling, digital photography, and digital video.
While the original camp in Woodward, Pennsylvania grew, the company was expanding its brand across the United States.
This was the original Woodward, and back in early 80s, we purchased the second oldest gymnastic camp in Lake Owen, Wisconsin. And then in the early 2000s, Woodward was sitting here with a national brand with regional presence. So we went out and built Woodward, California.
There's also a snowboarding camp at Copper Mountain, Colorado, and last year they opened Woodward Beijing, which Ream expects to be the largest Woodward when it opens for camp next year. Part of what makes the Woodward experience so special is their ongoing commitment to providing superior equipment and instruction for all of their campers. This idea permeates everything that Woodward does.
We just sort of listened to the kids, listened to the pros, and whatever they asked for, we exaggerated that. And we did that year after year after year.
Maverick believes that both the people and the facilities at camp create what is known as the Woodward experience.
So your learning curve is rapidly accelerated, and we have all the ramps, all the foam pits, and all the fun things to help you learn that even faster.
Woodward was founded on the idea of providing opportunities and outlets for kids with a passion for gymnastics. They have a proven formula for helping kids progress and grow in their particular sport. After 40 years, that hasn't changed. Woodward is still helping kids live their dreams.
And that's what Woodward's all about, creating progressions, listening to the people, wrapping some tech, some capital around it to push it so that that speed just happens quicker.
When we come back, we'll take you inside Woodward to find out what a typical day is like for the campers.